Today what we're going to look at is federal and state court structure. So we're going to look at the U.S. federal court system and how it works. And we're going to look at our local state court structure. So here in the state of North Carolina, you're going to have North Carolina courts, but you're going to have your local court, which is at your county. Okay, so you got the county courthouse, and that will be your district and your superior courts. And then after that, we're going to be like North Carolina Court of Appeals and the North Carolina Supreme Court. It's kind of how it works for states. And most states are going to follow our federal structure. Okay? So first off, we're going to look at North Carolina, and then we'll look at the federal court structure. So our lowest level is right here at the district court, and then it moves up. So for Cumberland County District Court, it's the lowest court. So wherever a crime has occurred is where the trial, the court proceeding is going to occur. Same thing like with a lawsuit. It'll be wherever someone files the lawsuit is pretty much where it's going to occur. So a district court is your lowest court in the land. As it being a low court, Cumberland County Courthouse, that would be ours, they have a small claims court under them. This is for lawsuits. So people who are suing someone else, it's a person versus person thing. It's your last name versus their last name. You're suing them because you rented your house to them. They didn't pay you the rent for 3 months and you would like to get your rent. Okay. Well, it's probably a couple thousand. It's probably not over that on rent if it's only been a couple of months. So you would go to a small claims court. But it's housed within the district court structure. For that kind of proceeding, it would only have a judge. So small claims court only have judges. You guys know a lot about small claims court because that is what the television programs show you. So anything like those Judge Judy's, Judge Brown, stuff like that, it's all kind of small claims court stuff. You got the two people who are presenting their information and then the judge makes the decision. But district courts aren't just about lawsuits. They're also about criminal offense. So they do civil, like the lawsuits, but they also do criminal. In criminal situations for the district court, they primarily do misdemeanors. A misdemeanor is a low-level offense. It means jail time, maybe, community service, could be house arrest, could be something like that, but it's not prison. A good example of a misdemeanor is a speeding ticket. A speeding ticket is technically a misdemeanor. And instead of doing like jail time or anything like that, what you get for a speeding ticket, or speeding is a ticket. You get a fine. You pay your fine. You can go to traffic court. Traffic court would be in this district court. So Cumberland County Courthouse, this is what's going on at the district part of the courthouse. There's always going to be a judge because the judge is really directing the court and directing how everything's going to work. So all court structures have judges. Sometimes we'll call judges justices, and that's going to make the court a little bit different. But they all act as judges, are like referees of the courtroom. The next level in the North Carolina court structure system is the Cumberland County Superior Court. Again, this is your county courthouse. And so every county has a different name on their Superior Court, but it's Superior Court. Superior Court hears serious criminal cases, so that would be felonies. A felony is like murder, kidnapping. Those are felony offenses. If someone has committed a felony, they are going to go to prison, or at least that's a possibility. Okay, prison is more than a year on a sentence. Jail is less than a year. So in a serious criminal court, a felony case, you're going to have a judge and you're going to have a jury. Why? If they're going to put you away for over a year, you need to have more than one person evaluating that decision. So we have a jury that we will set. Also in the superior court structure, you will have lawsuits that are over 10,000 here in North Carolina. So you're suing someone for over $10,000. It's going to be heard at the superior courthouse. Because you're suing for a large dollar amount, a judge and a jury will sit, and they will sit in judgment, and they will make the decision on who's at fault or not at fault. So let's say you're suing the person who built your home. You bought a nice home. It was valued at $150,000, but they took some cheap corners. They cut cost, and every time you go into the shower, the water is now rotting your floors. It doesn't drain properly, and that'd be $5,000 for a small bathroom. And if it's doing it in both your bathrooms, well, you're at $10,000 there. And let's say it's not just the showers that are messed up in your home, it's other stuff. So when you're talking about stuff like that, like building and building construction, if you're starting to look at damages of over 10,000, it's easily going to be something sit here at the Superior Court. They're going to hear the case, they're going to have a jury, and they're going to determine if the builder was at fault for the damages to your house. And they would be forced to pay for the damages if they were found at fault. District and Superior Courts have original jurisdiction. They will hear a case for the first time. Now, if you go to District or Superior Court and you feel that your legal proceedings was not correct, that something went wrong, maybe evidence was used that wasn't right, maybe there was something wrong with the jury, you can file an appeal. If you file an appeal, it's going to go to the state part of our court. It'll go to the North Carolina Court of Appeals. At the North Carolina Court of Appeals, they have only appellate jurisdiction. They never hear anything for a first time because you're appealing, you're reviewing your case. You're asking for someone to look back over what happened to you and to your proceedings. So they review cases based on appeal from lower courts, district and superior. And it's only going to be judges. We need experts on the law and how the law proceeds at this point. Juries are knowledgeable because they're being presented evidence and stuff. So we feel like in original jurisdiction cases, they're fine. But when you start getting into should this evidence have been presented, was the jury tampered with, did somebody violate like the constitutional rights of this person and stuff, that's really for judges who have law degrees and have expertise in this stuff. So that's why we only allow judges and no juries in courts of appeals. So if you felt something was wrong with whatever happened, then you can go ahead and see if the North Carolina Court of Appeals will review the case. They're only going to review the case if they feel something went wrong. It could be like in a lawsuit that the money, the penalty amount was too high for whatever it was. So you could have that reviewed. Okay. Now, the next level is the North Carolina Supreme Court. It is the highest court in the state of North Carolina. So they once again have appellate jurisdiction. And they have that on all lower court decisions. And because they have that, like the North Carolina Court of Appeals, they have the ability to send a case back to the lower court for them to redo. They have the decision or the power to go ahead and say, nope, the decision was good, and it stays. They also have the decision to throw out the decision. Like they have that ability to do that. So if they felt like maybe the dollar amount was too much, that the sentence was too much, the prison sentence was too much, the penalty was too high, they can say, nope, we're throwing out the case, we're throwing it out altogether. And that's a reversal. So they can do a couple of things when they're reviewing cases. They also have original jurisdiction when it comes to North Carolina law and whether it's legal or illegal based on our Constitution. So if North Carolina's General Assembly, our legislative branch, they decide to make a law, and you and I question that law, we question it here, and it could be declared illegal or unconstitutional. Every state has a constitution. Every state does. Yeah, we have the U.S. the U.S. Constitution is the supreme law of the land, but every state also has their own constitution that they have agreed to follow. So these people are justices at the North Carolina Supreme Court, are experts on that. They've read it, they know it, they understand how it's supposed to work for you and me. So if we felt that some law violated our Constitution, they would review that and determine if it really does. So again, we only want experts in this kind of court structure because of the way they're dealing with stuff. So this is how our court kind of works. And there are different kind of courts. Like I told you, there's small claims court here. So there's different kinds of courts within that district. Think of the district court as an umbrella, and there's little things under it. Same thing in Superior. There's little things under it, okay? Now, what kind of cases are kind of heard in our North Carolina court system? Criminal cases. Most of your day-to-day, like law enforcement, is done by states, by your local governments. It is your city police officers who do the most day-to-day legal enforcements in our country. Smallest jurisdiction, smallest little area, but do the most day-to-day legal stuff. So that makes sense of why your local courts do the most, like criminal stuff. Also, they do the most when it comes to kind of civil cases. They do a lot of that small claims stuff. So in criminal cases, our district courts are going to hear our misdemeanors, are less serious crimes. Littering is a misdemeanor. Skateboarding on the sidewalk is a misdemeanor. So they're going to hear those kind of cases. They're also going to hear felony cases, but felony will be done at a superior court. So felony, anything is like murder, kidnapping, very serious crimes. You're talking prison sentences on that. Civil cases, so lawsuits, you suing another person. Those are also going to be heard at your state level. Now, it just depends on the dollar amount. If it's over 10 grand, it's going to be a superior court. If it's under, it's going to be district. So you suing someone for $500, I mean, that's got a very small claim. We're going to go ahead and put that in a district, and we're going to have a judge rule on it. Divorces, child custody, those are civil cases. So if someone is getting a divorce, what they're doing is they're suing the other person for a divorce. It's just you're not really suing for money per se. You're just suing to get out of your marriage contract, because that's why you got to go down to the courthouse to get a marriage license. Remember, states issue licenses. You also have North Carolina constitutional issues that are only going to be heard here in our state. I mean, obviously the federal government will weigh in if it violates U.S. Constitution, but they're not weighing in on the day-to-day stuff here in North Carolina. North Carolina courts also hear juvenile issues, and juvenile issues is child custody stuff. Child support, that's a juvenile issue. Same thing with juvenile delinquents, children who violate the law. So that would be something that is typically very local, and they are closed courts. And we will look at it later. Juveniles are protected with their identity unless they're going to be charged as an adult. So we have sealed courts. There's a lot of stuff that's protected in juvenile courts.